Hey guys, this is Coop from GarageGymReviews.com, and today we're talking about this beast. This is the Rep PR-5000 version 2, and this is basically Rep Fitness's answer to the Rogue Monster racks, to the Sorenex XL racks, at a lower price point. We're going to talk about how it compares to those, if you should get it over those, and whether I think it's as good as those. Let's do it. All right, so I've said this in a previous video where we did a review on the Rep Power Bar EX stainless steel bar. It's a mouthful. But I said that Rep had sent me an email, one of their owners, and said, we no longer want to just be known as, an import company or just making cheaper equipment. We want to compete with the big boys. And so that means competing with Sorenex, competing with Rogue. They'd come out with some racks. We had done a review on the HR5000, which, by the way, is a half rack version of this. Still a great rack. We've done it on their power bar, and by and large, they are competing with those companies on much of this equipment. So today we're going to talk about their latest, greatest PR-5000. This is one of the biggest racks they've come out with. It's one of the biggest racks that I think is out there, and we're going to talk about it and see what's good about it. So first I want to talk about the uprights. So kind of what makes this different from the other racks that they sell, there's a couple things. One is it's 3x3 posts. So that means 3 inches by 3 inches. That's kind of a standard now. It's the Rogue Monster Light series. They use the same uprights, that sort of thing. This also has 11 gauge steel. So 11 gauge steel is what you see with, West Side racks with, you see it on pretty much every higher end power rack today. That said, one of the differences is they're using 1-inch bolts and 1-inch holes throughout the entire rack. So some of Rep's previous racks, they don't use 1-inch bolts throughout the rack. They use like 1 inch, and then they use like 5/8 inch at the top for connectors, those sorts of things. The reason that you would want a 1-inch bolt throughout the rack, every part of it, is because it's basically an erector set for strength training. Okay, so what I mean by that is you can customize this in as many, this is annoying me. Look at this hood, by the way. This is just stupid. Look at that. Who would wear a hood like that? All right. By the way, Sport and Squat-tober. Okay, so back to the video. The reason you would want a rack like this is because it's like an erector set, meaning you can expand it as big as you'd like. You can make it as big as you want. You can do whatever you'd want with the rack so long as they make an attachment for it. So if you want a 10-post rack, you could do so. If you wanted a 500-inch rack, you could do, well, I don't know if you could connect on top, but you could probably figure out a way to do it. Okay, I'm actually taking a rack like this and turning it into a belt squat. So the reason these are so great is because you can attach any attachment to them. Anything that uses a 1-inch bolt, you can use with this rack. So that means any Rogue Fitness accessories, except for their pull-up bars, which I'll talk about in a moment, any Sorenex accessories, you can also use these vice versa with those racks, okay? And you can just make it as big and beefy as you want. The reason that's great, outside of just buying extra crap to attach to your rack, is you have unlimited upgradability, okay? I just came up with this phrase, it's trademarked, unlimited upgradability, all right? Whoever's gonna use it, you can pay me royalties to use it. It's a great word. Unlimited upgradability. The reason you want unlimited upgradability is because you never have to sell your rack, because there's always gonna be attachments and ways that you can improve it and attach different things to it. Okay, when you go with Rep Fitness, they used to have a PR-3000 and it was a unique shape. It was like 2.3 inches by 2.3 inches or something like that. So you could only use those attachments. You want a standardized rack, then you can add anything you want to it. Okay, so let's get more into the rack. So one thing that's unique about this rack is they allow you to customize every part of it on their rack builder on their website. So I went in and I decided I was gonna, by the way, I'm here at my buddy's Will's house. Shout out to Will.
Yo, Rep Fitness, baby.
Let's go. He's actually wearing a Sorenex shirt, yeah. But the reason I'm over here is because, one, I ran out of room in the garage gym, and two, because I wanted a spot where we could keep reviewing different parts of it. So they're coming out with a belt squat. They're coming out with ISO arms, also known as lever arms, also known as jammer arms. They're all coming out with their own names. I don't know. I like the name jammer arms best. Maybe it's trademarked. But the reason I keep it here is so that it can keep getting tested and we keep doing the attachments. It's got a permanent home in this beautiful garage gym of Will's. Thank you, Will. So on the rack builder, you can customize it in any way. So I went with a 30-inch depth, 16-inch depth on the back, with plate posts all throughout. I tried to get just about every attachment they make. So that means I went with 100-inch height or 90-inch height. I've got a lat pull down in the back. That lat pull down will also be used for belt squats and some other accessories that they have coming out. More on that in a moment. I got plate posts all throughout. By the way, these are urethane. More on those in a moment. I got J-cups. I actually got 3 sets of J-cups because I wanted to test all the different styles of J-cups. I got the safety straps, these bad boys right here, so we can test those. Maybe we'll drop 1,000 pounds on them. Who knows? Stay tuned. We got the leg rollers. Those are attached, so we could test, rolling our legs out / hamstring / split squats, that sort of thing. We also got the safety bars in the front. Which, by the way, look at this. I saved this just for you, just so I could show you this bad boy's brand new. Look at that. Brand new. Okay, there's also some elsewhere. And then also the pull-up bar up top, the globe pull-up bar. Okay, so this has pretty much most of the attachments, if not all the attachments they sell. I think there's some other stuff. Oh, there's also a landmine post and band pegs. So there's a lot of different stuff. Been able to use, various parts of it. I actually had it in my garage gym for a bit, and then we moved it over here. Let's get into kind of my overall feelings for the rack. One, this isn't the, I have a hard time saying this, but this isn't the level of quality, quite the level of quality of a Rogue Monster Rack or Sorenex XL. Okay, I'm sure Rep's gonna hate me saying that, but it's just true. The uprights themselves and the hardware and that sort of thing, I think they're pretty close. Granted, these are imported, so there are some quality control issues, which I'll talk about in a moment. Not a ton, but there are a few. Like there's some shavings throughout. I wish I kind of went through and took them all off, but basically on a lot of these holes, there was like a piece of steel that wasn't fully taken off. The welds, they're actually using robot welders. They're laser tube welds, so they're actually nice welds. Something you'd see with a higher end rack, again, laser cut holes, laser cut numbers all throughout. But one thing about these racks that I don't think is at the level of quality of the Monster or the Sorenex racks is the attachments. The attachments, in my opinion, are not quite to the level of the rack. The rack itself, the uprights and that sort of thing, it's awesome. It's really good, especially for the price. We're talking great powder coat. It's more of a textured than I would say Rogues or Sorenexes. Theirs is more, I don't know, it's smoother. This has more of a texture. They're offering a lot of colors on it, but it's different. But they do offer laser cut numbers on the front of the posts, laser cut numbers on the back of the posts, laser cut numbers on the bottom cross members on both the inside and the outside. Basically, they're trying to do everything that a higher end rack would have. But because they're importing it, they're able to offer it at a lower price, okay? But back to the attachments. So the attachments, I say they're not quite as to the level of quality as the competitors. I also don't think they're to the level of quality of the rack, okay? So the rack itself, like I said, is great. However, there's just some like nitpicky things about the attachments that I don't think put it at the same level. So like the J-cups, for instance, they're like really rocky. I mean, these are minor things again, but they're just not like fully on. And that's not to say like Rogues or Sorenexes are always perfect, but I find they have a little bit tighter tolerances. The safety bars, for instance, they use actually these don't, the safety straps, they're eared in the same way. So rather than having a pair, like one goes this way and then one goes out the other way, they're just the same. So they go the same way. That's something that Titan did on their early J-cups, which a lot of people didn't like, and so they refreshed it. That's something that I'd like to see refreshed on these. The lat pull down, I like the lat pull down. I like the budget-friendly option of lat pull down, but the level of quality on the lat pull down, in my opinion, does not match the level of quality on the rack. I like that they offer a budget-friendly option because Rogue, for instance, and Sorenex, neither of them offer a budget-friendly option. So I really like that they offer it, but it's not as smooth. Like you can kind of hear it. It doesn't have the same smoothness going up and down, and obviously if you oiled it more, it'd be a little bit better. But it's not quite to the level of quality as the rack is. So I'm basically saying that to say, Rep, this is a great rack that I hope you keep investing in as far as attachments. I'd love to see a little bit higher quality lat pull down and things like that, okay? But all the attachments, there's tons of attachments. One unique feature about this is the J-cups. So these J-cups, because this is a 1-inch hole rack with holes 2 inches on center, you can't use west side hole spacing. And that's something a lot of people like about 2x3 racks. West side hole spacing basically allows you to put the J-cups every 1 inch. So they came out with this J-cup package that basically allows you to run J-cups every 1 inch. So basically, if you're using, like, if you want to go that 1 inch, or if you want to go right there, great. If you want to go 1 inch below that, rather than just going down here, which would be 2 inches below that, I mean, this is really excessive, but you can use this and use this on this one because it's basically dropped down a little bit further. Great idea. They also use stainless steel on the outsides here. These are actually an awesome looking J-cup. I love the look of these J-cups with the logos. And this is another thing. So another thing I really like about these that other companies, I think they listen to me, is they don't use any stickers. So on the entire rack, there's no stickers. Praise the Lord. There's only laser cut logos. Okay, so that's laser cut. This is laser cut right here. This is laser cut up here. The J-cups, there's no stickers, okay? And it's done tastefully. It's not gaudy, you know, it's not everywhere. It's just the right amount. Thank you, Rep. Great job. Hopefully other companies follow suit. Okay, so I really like that about it. Now, other than that, overall, I guess the question most are going to be asking is, Coop, do you recommend the PR-5000, or do you recommend the monster rack above it, or do you recommend the Sorinex rack? This is what I'd say. The best value rack for this level of rack is this one. I mean, if you look at price, we did a breakdown of price on our website, and I looked at basically all the same features, which was like an RM6 with safety straps, bright zinc hardware, arch logo, and like a couple of attachments. I've made the exact same rack, exact same height, exact same depth, all that sort of thing with Rep, and the Rep ended up being like $1,700 or so, not shipped, and the Rogue was like $2,200, $2,100, somewhere around there. The Rep rack is going to be a bit cheaper depending on the feature set. It's definitely going to be cheaper than Sorinex, okay? So for somebody that doesn't care, one, about made in the USA, two, doesn't mind some of the detail features. Like, I prefer the finish on a Rogue rack. I prefer the cross members on a Rogue rack. The cross members on the top cross members on a Rogue rack, they're actually all the way to the top, so you can use a slinger. There's some other things about the Rogue rack that I definitely appreciate. It's also made in the USA. If that matters to you, then you're going to want to go with a Rogue rack or Sorinex rack. However, if you just want a good rack, you don't care so much about made in the USA. I mean, by the way, made in the USA, Rogues and Rep or Sorinexes are made in the USA, but that's not to say Rep Fitness isn't a USA based company. They employ 50 plus people in the US and Colorado, so it's not like you're just sending all your money to China. You're just sending a lot of it. So if you're somebody that wants a good value rack at this level of quality, this is your best bet. If you want made in the USA, a little bit better feature set, that sort of thing, then go with Rogue or go with Sorinex. However, I have one thing left to say. I forgot about this. The width of this rack is 47 inches. Sometimes doing these reviews is hard because there's so much to talk about. There's so many different parts. But this rack is 47 inches outside post to outside post, okay? So that means it's easier to rack your bar. So some people that really matters. I've never really had much of a problem with it on a Rogue rack. Some people, they love it, okay? So that's a Sorinex thing. Sorinex is 47 inches outside to outside. Rogue's 49. So 47 to 47 on this rack at a much better price. If you want the best value, higher end rack, don't mind imported, this is the rack for you. If you don't want imported, want a little bit better feature set, then go with the other rack. However, you could buy this rack and buy the accessories from a different company, or vice versa. All right, I think that's good. That was really long. But this is Coop from GarageGymReviews.com. What do you think about the rack? Is this something you'd go with? Do you like the price? Do you like the feature set? That sort of thing. We'll see you next time. Peace.